It's time to step behind the scenes and take a closer look at the Owen Sound Attack. This is Bear Tracker Weekly. Here's your host, JC Coots.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 22 of the Bear Tracker Weekly podcast. Waited until Sunday afternoon after the Owen Sound Attack's thrilling 4-3 overtime win over Sault Ste. Marie to record this part of the podcast. And what a game it was. I did not see the overtime winning goal. Unfortunately, anybody that was watching on the CHL app did not see the winning goal because for some reason the feed cut off when regulation ended. At least I'm happy to see that I am not the only upset Attack fan based on the online comments about that. Come on, CHL, do better. Let's have a talk to that intern who decided to pull the plug early. Anyway, it was an exciting afternoon for the Attack. That overtime win now puts them in a dead heat with the Sioux Greyhounds for the 8th and final playoff spot. Both teams now have just 11 games left on the regular season to figure things out. And the Attack schedule, it might not be the kindest on these final 11 games, but based on the play today, based on the play Thursday night in Barrie, you have to like the Attack's chances. Let's not talk about Friday night. That was a game that the Attack don't want to talk about either. An 8-1 loss to the Sudbury Wolves in Sudbury. Not sure what happened there between the two games that were otherwise not bad. I mean, we're going to ignore the first period of that Attack game in the Sioux today, but clearly the team is working through some stuff right now. But they are focused, they know what the goal is, and obviously it is making the playoffs. For our guest this week with the Attack on the road, it was a little hard to come by guests this week because all the players were off with the team. They were late getting back from Windsor, obviously, with the snow that Grey Bruce got over this weekend. But we did have some guests that we wanted to talk to. Been waiting all season to chat with members of the Attack Pack. Dave Cruickshank and Pete Miller are going to join us this week. Plus an old friend of mine, Nick Liard. You probably heard him doing the play-by-play in Sudbury on Friday night for the Wolves. He works for Eastlink TV and also the radio station that I used to work for up in Sudbury. We'll catch up with Nick about his career and about the Sudbury Wolves. That is what we have for you this week. Episode 22 starts now. On Thursday afternoon this week, I got a chance to chat with Dave Cruickshank and Pete Miller. They are the president and treasurer, respectively, of the Attack Pack, the Owen Sound Attack Fan Club. The Attack Club Pack, of course, has their big bus trip coming up down to Erie. We talk about that, plus all things Owen Sound Attack. Learn more about how they became fans of the team, how long they've been with the Attack Pack, and also a little bit of talk about Jordan Binnington, who would that night go on to lead Team Canada to a win at the Four Nations Face-Off. Here's my conversation with Dave Cruickshank and Pete Miller Thursday at the Bayshore. Guys, you're both going to get the same first question everybody gets on the podcast. So I'll start with you, Dave. Where did you grow up and what first made you fall in love with hockey?
Born and raised in Owen Sound. Played 1 year when I was about 6 years old and burned my ankles out. That was it for my hockey career. And then just been a fan of the Attack and the Platers ever since, right? And haven't missed a game since home game since 2005.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a heck of an Ironman streak.
I'm on a record. I'm on a roll.
No kidding.
Right, yeah.
Pete, how about you? Where'd you grow up? What first made you fall in love with hockey?
Well, I grew up in Acton, JC, where it's worth the drive to Acton. And I played in house league hockey back then. I started about 7 years old. And my career ended when we won the championship in 1967. I was 10, and that was I quit while I was ahead.
Yeah, you went out on top.
I went out on top, yeah.
And what first got you involved with the Owen Sound Attack? What first made you fall in with them?
Well, I lived in Guelph for a while, and I used to follow the Guelph junior hockey back then, and I moved to town, and next thing we got an OHL team here. So I started following in 1990. I've had season tickets since 1990.
Wow. Are you on the same Ironman streak that Dave's on? You haven't missed a game since any any year?
I've missed a few. My wife made me go on vacation in the wintertime, but I haven't missed any due to personal reasons other than that.
Well, the pair of you are important to the Attack fan base because you run what is known as the Attack Pak, which is the fan club. Dave, I believe you're the president, and
Yes.
Pete, I believe you're the treasurer.
That's right.
So how long are you guys original members? Did you start the Attack Pak, or did you come in at some point?
No, I've been on since championship season, since
Okay.
2011. But the club's been going since Plater days. But
Wow.
the second or maybe third year of existence, the club started up by a lady by the name of Helen Lewis, was big on our committee, and since then we've taken over. 2018 or so, we've been president and on the committee, and just love it. We got 4 people on our executive who just love doing the job, so it's really nice. Really nice.
And you've been about the same amount of time, Pete?
No, I retired 3 years ago, and Dave kind of conscripted me when I retired. He thought I didn't have enough to do with my spare time that I did. And I'm at the rink anyways. I guess he thought I was here hanging around. I may as well be doing something useful, So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, tell me what, for those that listen to the podcast and they don't know that the Attack Pak even exists, what is it all about? How does somebody join? What are the benefits of being a member of the Attack Pak?
Well, we have, right now we have about 175, 180 members. Those numbers are down since COVID. Right? We're trying to attract more people. You sign up, you pay a membership fee. Your name's automatically put in on game night draws that we have. We have draws at the booth all the time for prizes and a hockey pool and stuff like that. Our money all goes to the players. We changed that up a few years ago. We used to make a fairly hefty donation to the team at the awards barbecue in the thousands of dollars. Now we spend our money on helping the players out, giving them a Christmas gift. They get Tim Hortons cards from us throughout the year, things like that. And we put some money towards our bus trips and stuff to kind of keep the cost down for members who are wanting to travel with us. And that's basically what it is. We're not trying to make a fortune at all. We're just here for support for the team, right? And the boys love us, and we love them. So it's it's mutual for sure.
And Pete, for people that look for the Attack Pak booth, you guys are pretty much right next to the broadcast booth where we're, well, not the broadcast booth, but where Fred does the announcing and where the Attack personnel work out of. You guys have a little spot that's right there. Typically, I see you guys out selling buttons and things like that at the booth. What else do you do at the booth?
Like Dave said, that's where we sell our weekend trips. For the fan club, we do draws every week. We dispense information. Lots of fans come over. They just want to hear what's going on with the team, the kind of scuttlebutt going around, who's playing, who's not, who might be injured, who might be traded here. Those kind of things. A lot of the families of the players drop by and say hi. Like, we've got to know a number of them over the years, and like Dave said, it's all about supporting the team really, and a connection between our fan club members and the general public and the players, that connection that maybe they're not going to get in a bigger center.
The bus trips you mentioned, those I've seen some photos over the last couple of seasons. They look like a lot of fun. Is it typically 2 per season that you guys try to do? One down to Erie and then one out east, like Peterborough, Kingston, Ottawa way?
Yeah, we always do. Well, I shouldn't say we're dependent on the schedule maker, right? Like, it depends on what happens there. But Kingston and lately it's Kingston and Peterborough are a yearly thing, an annual thing, and the doubleheader in Erie is an annual thing. We try to, we haven't in the last couple of years, but throw in another 1 or 2 as well. Like Flint and Saginaw are quite popular. We haven't been able to get up north for the last few years, but like this weekend the team's away up north, but an off day really kind of hampers a bus trip, right? Like between the two, because it just means extra nights in the hotel. And Sault Ste. Marie is an 8-hour drive away. So, we have done it before. We have done Sudbury and Sault Ste. Marie a couple of times, but not for a few years. But the Kingston one's real popular. The Erie one is really popular. Of course, there's some uncertainty this year. The Canadian dollar is not performing well. So, it's kind of holding some people back. But we're going 2 weeks. We're off to Erie with a busload of people, so we're really looking forward to that.
Now, do you have any space left on that bus trip for
Yes.
anybody that's listening and wondering about that?
Yes, we do. But they'd have to get a hold of me because we're past our hotel date for the block of rooms and the rate that they've guaranteed us. But it is possible to get another room. I just did it the other day for somebody, so it is possible. They'd have to get a hold of me come to the booth on Wednesday night or our next home game, or phone me or whatever. But there is some room left. There is.
What are the trips like? From the photos I saw from the last one, it looks like a pretty good mix. You've got some older season ticket holders, some younger season ticket holders are on the bus. It looks like it's a good time.
It is. It is. Like we do draws and stuff on the bus, and on the way down, and for instance, the Erie one, we're leaving Friday morning, and of course we stop at duty free and all that on the way across, and we go to the game Friday night, come back into the hotel Friday evening, and usually have a bit of a get together in the breakfast area of the hotel until whatever hour of the night. And then the next day there's a little bit of mall time, and then supper, a dinner for everybody at a restaurant, and off to the game, and then home on Sunday is how it goes. Everybody seems to love. We have the same people year in, year out come on these trips, right? They just love it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Pete, what do the players think, knowing that the Attack Pak's on the road with them? It's got to be pretty special for the players to be able to look up in a rink far away like Peterborough or Erie and see like 20, 30 just crazed Owen Sound Attack fans there.
Well, they've told us that it helps them, motivates them a bit more to play. And they know we're there. Like when we're there cheering, sometimes we out-cheer the home crowd, and they generally give us a salute at the end of the game, win or lose. And one of the other things we do on the trips, too, is after one of the games, we'll have the entire team come on the fan bus and meet all the fans. And, a lot of these kids, fans know them by their name and number, but they've never seen them up close and personal, so it gives them a chance to get to know these guys. And I think we offer something that other cities may not offer, that personal connection between the players and the fans here in Owen Sound. They get to recognize people in the stands and fan club members and so on. So,
to Pete's point, with being in the stands, we were there in Peterborough when Carter scored his goal. And the first people that he acknowledged was us in the stands as he's leaving the crease to do his flyby. It's us up in the stands going nuts. Like the TV announcers heard us good, right?
Yeah,
heard us well, right? So
they definitely mentioned you. Yeah. I was going to ask about that trip. That had to be an amazing moment to see.
Yeah.
Put that right up. Well, maybe not quite, but I almost put it right up there with championship goal. Right, like it was unbelievable atmosphere. And for us,
it was a highlight.
40 of us or 45 of us were there, so it was good. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Speaking of championship goal, when the Owen Sound Attack won back in Mississauga way back when, were you both there?
Oh, yeah.
Of course you were.
On the fan bus. We had 2 fan buses there for championship. We went down to every game in this. I guess it'd be 4 of them against Mississauga. Went to Game 7. We were there for all 4 of them. We had 2 buses full, so we had 100 Attack fans on our buses, but there was thousands in the stands. But we had 100 come with us, and after the game, as Pete said, they won the championship. They came on our bus. Dale DeGray, Andy Brown with the trophy,
the
whole bit was on. It was fantastic. The game was great. The parade home was something else too.
I've heard the legend of that parade on the way home, and the city just being shut down when you guys, there was quite a line of traffic coming back.
Started in Dundalk. When we got to Dundalk, the lights at Dundalk is before the renovation in the new building, but there's a gas station there, fire trucks with lights flashing. We thought the place was on fire. Oh, no. They had signs up congratulating the team, because we were in 2 fan buses and the team bus all in a parade home. It was fantastic. It was great.
Obviously, you two have seen a lot of attack hockey over the years, including what a championship caliber team looks like. So that's going to lead me into my next question. Knowing that you've seen a lot of players, how they develop, how they grow, what their potential might be, what do you think of this group we got here? Because there are some fantastic young guys on this team.
Very exciting. Very exciting. The next couple of years are going to be something else in Owen Sound. I really believe that. Unfortunately, there'll be other good teams in the league as well.
Of course.
But we'll be right there. I'm sure we're top 4 and higher. I'm sure of it. We've got some, as you say, some fantastic talent. And more coming. right? And there's some more high picks. There's some NCAA guys that are going to be showing up next year. It's the future's bright.
Quite possible that after the NHL draft, we could have 3 NHL drafted goalies on the team.
Yeah,
I know. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I keep saying out loud, hoping that it becomes true that if Kitchener gets the Memorial Cup in a couple of years, that Owen Sound by that time is ready to get there, and then it'll be a much shorter drive for everybody to go to Kitchener.
Yeah. But there might not be as many seats in the stands for all of us.
That's true.
That was the thing about the Mississauga thing. It was a perfect storm, right? Like
The Bayshore South.
Bayshore South. We actually still have over in the booth. We have a big banner that we had that time.
Yeah.
Called "Welcome to Bayshore South" or something, and it's actually signed by every team. Player and official on that championship team. It's over in the booth, right? Yeah. So it's quite a little bit of a souvenir. So.
Yeah, that's a great piece of Attack history to have.
Yeah.
We took it to Mississauga last year when the Attack played there.
I saw that. That was awesome.
Yeah.
The fans there had no idea what we were doing.
All 7 of them didn't know what you guys were up to.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, for sure.
Going back to some memories of the Attack over the years, obviously the championship notwithstanding, but are there special players, special moments in your memories that you'll always think about, Pete? Any special players or memories over the years that you're always going to remember?
Oh, yeah. I think one of the earliest memories I have is back in the Platers days when Adam Mayer and Dan Snyder played, and the end of every warm-up, those 2 guys used to kind of skate as fast as they could backwards in a circle. They were always the last 2 guys off the ice, and both became NHL players, both great guys. Of course, the championship overtime goal, Game 7 on the road, scored by a 16-year-old rookie, Jared Maidens. I mean, I couldn't speak at the end of that. My voice was gone. I had laryngitis. Yeah. That was another big one. I mean, there's Bobby Ryan was another guy that played on the team, another awesome player.
Yeah, we've had some really great teams and some really high-end players come through here as well, right? Like from the Bobby Ryans to the captain of the Montreal Canadiens, right, fairly recently, who I want to say him and his family treated us like gold. Nick was gone from here for a couple of years, and I took the chance and got a hold of his father. And the next thing you know, they've gifted us a Montreal Canadian jersey signed by Nick. We made $1,600 in the booth on that, right, selling tickets and all that. And
that's incredible.
Yeah. He actually phoned me from the Bell Center because I had requested a white one. He actually phoned me from the store, Rob, Nick's dad, saying that we don't have any white ones. You can choose between a red one and a blue one. And we got the blue 3rd jersey, and the rest was history. We made a good little bit of money on that, and everybody loved it. So that's kind of what we mean to the players, right? Like he had no issue. We didn't, I offered to pay for that jersey. That didn't happen. That was a donation. So it's a family, right? So.
Yeah. Speaking of family, I was going to ask too about what makes this team so special. I think you really have to either have grown up in Owen Sound or live in Owen Sound and been to a few games to kind of get it. It's tough for me to explain to other friends that live in different OHL markets what it is that's special about this place and the connection to the team. But what's special to you? How do you see it?
It's the family atmosphere, right? Like it's like a community team. I remember one of the owners saying one time, we don't consider ourselves owners, we consider ourselves custodians of the community team, right? It's just that everybody knows everybody, right? Or if they don't, they certainly can, right? Like there's a few of us, myself, Pete, and a few other. We come to every practice too. We're here all the time, right? And it's a family. It really is. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody helps everybody. Everybody cheers for the team. It's fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah.
Pete, what about you? What's in your view what makes this team special, and how would you explain it to other people that don't live here?
I think Dave hit the nail on the head. It's a community team. The owners sit in the seats out with the rest of us. They don't sit in a private box, and you wouldn't know those guys owned the team unless you knew that, because they're fans like everybody else. They want to watch their team win, and when we lose, they have a long face, and when we win, then they're excited. And they've made sure the team stayed for the entire community. And there's nowhere else I want to be Saturday night all winter than right here. This is kind of like second home for us, being right here, and all the players and the the families, we've sort of adopted the players' families, and they're part of the whole group. It's a really tight connection that I don't know if you see it in other places.
Yeah, and I'm like you, JC. Try to explain that to other fans from other teams, and to be point blank, they don't get it. And I don't know if they ever will, right? They just don't. It's a different thing. It's a different thing, right? Like a lot of them talk about the players as players, and that's it. We don't see them at that. They're definitely hockey players, but we know them, right? The whole town knows them, right? Like they're, our good buddy Achilles, right? Just posted, the players are down there at his restaurant all the time. We just, it's again, I just don't want to overstate it, but it's a big family. It really is. It really is.
Is there anything that concerns you about the future of this team, that something might happen sometime where it's no longer viable for them to be here? I mean, it's not one of the biggest arenas in the league, so you don't quite see the ticket sales that like a London or a Kitchener or any of the new, now they're building 5,000 seat arenas to start in the league. Is there anything that ever concerns you about there not being a team here anymore?
I honestly don't think so. I think if it ever became an issue of any type, we've done it once and we'll do it again. The community will step up and the team will be here. It'd be too big of a loss to lose that team, or this team. I don't see it happening. I really don't. I know there's talk about league expansion and whatever, but I don't see that going on without the Owen Sound Attack. I really don't. It's we might find ourselves sometime in a different division or whatever's going on, but I don't think we won't be here. At least I hope not.
Yeah. Do you have any immediate concerns for the future? Pete, I'll ask you that. I worry about, what happens if somebody notices we've got a really good coaching staff and they're like, we're just going to grab them and take them away. I hope that they stay here for a while, but any immediate concerns of something that might happen? Maybe we lose the base or bounce when they do the construction this summer? Anything that you're worried about?
Not really, I mean, every team has their up and downs, but, Dale, he just keeps bouncing back and doing things better, I mean, he's got an awesome coaching staff here now. The players love him. The young guys coming in love to be here, playing here. And, we don't have the biggest arena in the league for sure, but I've been in every rink except for one, and this is as nice, if not nicer, to watch a hockey game. This is the old-fashioned hockey atmosphere. You come here to watch the game, And I think the owners, the ownership group and the ones that are left now and the management have done an awesome job of pushing the team forward and keeping it relevant with today's game. They're going to do some major renos in the arena for next year, which is going to be great for the on-ice product and the players' safety and everything. There's been talk about could they add some more seats to the arena. They could probably do it. They don't have to build a new rink. That would be one concern I had, that it remains viable in the league, but I think it'd be an easy thing to do. They've done it before. They can do it again. And I'm quite comfortable that things are ticking along pretty good. And the next couple of years are going to be even more exciting. We're going to watch those kids develop, and we're going to be, watching the fruits of their labor now. Like this development year this year, 2 or 3 years down the road, we're going to see Pierce Bowie at the top of the standings and Cole Zarowski at the top of the standings, and some of these other young guys. They're going to be the best players in the league right here, 35 times a year. So it's exciting.
I think I don't want to use the word surprise, but it's great this year. Like, we're not winning, obviously. Like, we're developing. And the fan base from a whole, they've bought in, right? Like, we have good crowds. We have, in the past when we weren't winning, there would be nobody in the stands, right? We'd have like half capacity or something. That's not the case this year. People are really excited. I really do. And the on-ice product, as you know, may lose the game. It's not for a lack of effort, right? It's not. They're a good group. They're a good group, young, and as Pete says, Pierce and a few other ones, give them a year or two in this league, and we're going to be, we're going to be there. We are.
Pete, you mentioned there's only one building you haven't been in. Where do you need to go to finish your bingo card?
Sault Ste. Marie.
Sue, okay, that's the furthest one away.
That's the last one. I did get there a couple of summers ago as far as the parking lot, but the building was, if it was open, I would have been in there.
I guess you're not going on Sunday, eh? You're not making the trip up with the team?
Unfortunately, I'm not going Sunday.
Oh, that's going to be a great game on Sunday. Oh, man. How about you, Dave? Have you checked off most of the OHL arenas?
All the existing buildings, yes. I didn't make it
Wow.
to some of the ones that have recently closed, right? Like Niagara and places that are newer arenas. I didn't make it to any of the older ones. But everything that's in play right now, absolutely. Been there, done that, right? So it's exciting.
Yeah.
We're going to get to Sault Ste. Marie one of these days, too. We are going to get there. We are. Whether it's on a fan club bus or whether a group of us drive, we are going to get there.
Hopefully it's early in the year because winter driving up there, as someone that's lived in Northern Ontario, sucks. So, yeah. Although if you live in Owen Sound and Brook Ray Bruce, it sucks this winter too.
Well, back in COVID year when we, I guess it was the year we opened back up after COVID and we were only allowed 500 fans and what have you. Mm-hmm. The schedule was different. We had a double header in Sault Ste. Marie in January. We sold the bus out lickety-split, 52 people.
Wow.
Going to be masked up, and we were going to, and about a week before the trip, the league, something happened, and they shut down the buildings for fans again. It was around January, so we had to cancel the trip. Or we had people, it was a double header, so we were going to be able to, like an Erie kind of thing, only in Sault Ste. Marie. Perfect storm, didn't happen.
Yeah.
But we're hoping.
Someday.
Yeah.
Guys, we're taping this on Thursday, the night that Canada's going to face the U.S. in the Four Nations Cup, and there's another Owen Sound goalie, former goaltender Jordan Binnington is going to get the start for Canada. So we right now are in charge of Canada's present and future when it comes to goaltending.
Yes.
What can you say about Binnington when he was here? What do you expect that's going to happen tonight?
Actually, I wore it the other night to the game. I have a Jordan Binnington jersey from his rookie season. Which I know this because his dad phoned me a week afterwards. It's the first jersey that Jordan ever signed.
Wow.
And I have it. And his dad told me at the next game, he says, he signed that for you. And within the hour, he was on the phone with me saying, Dad, I signed my first jersey. And I have it. So, yeah, he was, I do believe he has our wins record, right?
Yeah, I believe so, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so he played championship game, not the entire series and stuff, but he did, and from the next few years he was a heck of a goalie for us. We're a goalie factory in Owen Sound. We really are.
I'll ask you both, who's an underrated player on this lineup? I mean, obviously there's a few that are getting their names put through the headlines quite a bit, but maybe there's some that maybe people haven't noticed. Pete, who do you think's an underrated player that people should take notice of?
Well, I've noticed him obviously being in the fan club, but I would say Elliot Arnett. There's a guy who is, when you see him play, he sure doesn't look like he's a 16-year-old rookie. He looks like he's 18 or 19 years old. So there's a guy that people should be watching. In another year or two down the road, he is going to be a monster on the blue line for us.
Dave, how about you?
I got a couple. They're both, one's a second-year player, and Gabriel Smith. I think he has improved immensely since last season. Their ice time will do that for him. And the other one is Easton Micas. Right? I really like his game lately, and I think he's not going to be the 40-goal scorer, but he's going to be a big part of this team, I believe. Yeah.
Right now, I think he's hoping to be the guy from Thunder Bay that has more points on the roster.
Yeah,
Carter
exactly.
George is giving him a run for his money.
Exactly. Yes.
Guys, before we wrap up, is there anything else about the Attack Pack we should know about? Anything that I might have missed asking you about? Or, again, if people want to sign up, how would they get information to do that? What's the best way to reach out to you?
The best way is to drop by the booth game night. They can also send us an email or something, and we'll respond to that. The email address and everything is on the Attack website. You'll find a page dedicated to the fan club. Yeah, that's, the other thing we didn't mention that we do have happen in January, the last few years, a night with the team up at Eastside Mario's, or a local restaurant, right? And unlike the celebrity servers where there's 5 or 6 guys that go, we have the whole team, everybody. And this year we had the coaching staff. It was fantastic. So that's not necessarily membership only thing. Anybody can come to that, but it's just something we do to try to get people out to meet the team and, go from there. So.
All right. Well, Dave Cruickshank, Pete Miller, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for your time on a Thursday afternoon. I really appreciate it. Hopefully more people now know what the Attack Pack is if they didn't before. Hopefully you're going to get some more sign-ups and have a blast on that bus trip to Erie. I know it's going to be a great time.
Really looking forward to it. Really looking forward. Thank you.
Thanks, JC.
Nick Liard is a part of the Sudbury Wolves broadcast team. You can hear him weekday afternoons on Q92 in Sudbury, a radio station that he and I used to work at together. And you can see him on Eastlink TV with the Wolves games. Attack fans would have heard him doing the play-by-play on Friday night's broadcast. It was great to catch up with Nick, learn more about his career, and talk a little bit about the Sudbury Wolves and what they've got going on this season. Here's my conversation with Nick Liard. Our guest today is Nick Liard. He does play-by-play and color commentary with the Sudbury Wolves on Eastlink TV. He's also a pretty good all-around dude, and he joins us now via Zoom from Sudbury. Hey, Nick, how are you?
Doing wonderful up in the snowy white north, although where you are, pretty darn snowy as well.
I think we've got even more snow than Northern Ontario does, which to look at on the positive side, the snowmobilers are very happy about that. So
very happy. Is this a competition? You want to bring out the measuring stick, see who has more snow or what?
We're going to need more than one stick, I think. We might need a few sticks.
JC, hello.
Nick, I'll ask you the same first question everybody gets on the podcast. Where did you grow up, and what first made you fall in love with hockey?
Born and raised in Greater Sudbury, Ontario. Love it here. I'm very happy that I get to work in hockey in my hometown. I fall in love with hockey. The 1998 Olympics was really what did it for me. So I liked hockey a lot. I liked more so logos when I was a kid. So I grew up in like the 90s era of those really sweet Anaheim Mighty Ducks and Pittsburgh Penguin logos. So I started to really like hockey that way. But it was really like the competition of the Olympic Games and like seeing all these Canadian players have some success and be on this world stage that really, staying up late until like 3 a.m. with my dad watching the Olympic Games on a pull-out couch in our basement, just really made me fall in love with the game.
You would have had to stay up late because they were in Nagano, Japan back in 98.
Exactly.
Damn you, Dominic Hasek.
Darn it. I remember Team Canada scoring and my dad like celebrating and the fold-out bed collapsing pretty much on top of us. Core memory right there, buddy.
Well, that's amazing. So obviously a hockey fan pretty young. What made you decide to get into broadcasting? Was it because you wanted to be a hockey broadcaster, or was it something else that got you into it?
There's not a sport I won't watch. I absolutely love sports. So that was kind of the avenue that I wanted to take. Everyone going into journalism school like had the same kind of idea. There was like, we'd go around the room. There was about like 40 of us in day one in print journalism here at Cambrian College in Sudbury. And about 90% of the people who said, why are you getting into this? Were like, I want to be on, TSN and Sportsnet. And it was just like, well, I got to compete with all of these people. So it's just I thought about finding like a niche and finding, my path through my journey. And it took me into broadcast journalism at Loyalist College. And I specialized in TV there. My first job ended up being radio, which I didn't focus a whole lot on. But now with the Sudbury Wolves stuff, I get to do both. So in my day job, I'm on the radio. And then when I do the Sudbury Wolves, I get to use that TV specialty. So it's really, really awesome. And I don't know, like looking back on myself, if I would think that I would be here doing this kind of stuff like that, I would have said, yeah, dude, you're gonna love it. So I'm having so much fun with this, man. The last couple of years have been a lot better for the Sudbury Wolves. So obviously, like it being my hometown, love to see them win. I'm there to watch hockey, and I get to watch some of the best young hockey players in this country, in the world, on a weekly basis, and that's what really makes me happy. But seeing the Sudbury Wolves have some success, that's been wicked.
Let's talk about your day job for a second, just because you are a broadcaster during the day. When I knew you, when we worked together in Sudbury, you were the news director at 92 Rock, which has now gone back to Q92. What are you now? Because are you still news director, or are you something different?
I don't do too much news anymore, which I'm not mad about. And I am I get to tell really dumb jokes. Hopefully make like 5 people, 6 people laugh. I do drive, so 2 to 6 here on Q92 in Sudbury, and I just come in every single day and try to have as much fun as possible. The last few years have been really rough on people. If I can put a smile on someone's face, that is the end goal. I just want to say, however, you don't write anymore. You don't call. You can take the Chichimon. I'm just over the water here, bud. And you don't even come up and see what's going on.
I will be back someday. I promise. Maybe when the Attack are playing up there. I'm not going to make it up this weekend when they're up on Friday night, but I am due to come back. I made a lot of friendships in a very short amount of time, and people say that Canadians the best are Newfoundlanders, but they've never met Northern Ontarians, because they're pretty good people up there.
You're trying to butter the toast, aren't you? Yeah, trying to make up for not calling or anything. I see how it is. That was very nice of you to say.
Oh, thank you. Let's talk about how you got involved with the Wolves, because I know that we worked together with Gary Beach, who's now retired, but he was, I think, play-by-play on radio for the Wolves for a long time, and I think you started working with him. Is that how you kind of got your foot in the door?
I really lucked out. My old boss, the old news director here so we have 2 stations, Kiss 105.3 and Q92. Our old news director was play-by-play. Gary Beach did color commentary. And so Stu Kernan left and went down to do Hamilton, and he's now in Peterborough doing the Peterborough Petes games. So he was my first boss. Everybody needs a break once in a while, and so asked me if I was interested, and I said, heck yeah, I would love that. And so I would just get in a game here and there, and then when he went down south, Gary Beach took over play-by-play, and then I would do a couple more games, and the list of games just kept growing, and now pretty much every game I'm on.
Shout out to Stu Kernan. He was on the podcast earlier this year, and we talked about the Sudbury time and his other time, of course, all around the OHL. And he's been brought up a couple times now. One of the nicest guys you'll meet in the OHL. You work now with a guy named Brian Cooper, who I don't think I've met him personally, but he's also a radio guy up in Sudbury and a pretty good guy to work with by all accounts. Do you guys kind of share the duties, or do you fill in when he's away up behind the mic as play-by-play, or how does the dynamic work between you two?
So what's really, really cool is so I do most games with Gary Beach. Gary had shoulder surgery, so he was week to week in like November, December. So that's when I did a lot of games with Brian Cooper. What's really cool about the dynamic is like he works for a country station. David Bowen is also another guy who's involved in it. So David and Brian Cooper do the radio games, the broadcasts. David Bowen goes on the road and does all the road games. Brian Cooper does all the home games with him. And so here and there, just to kind of keep people involved, Brian Cooper does a couple TV games here and there. So it's an absolute pleasure when I get to work with him. We're around the same age, but like there's a lot of differences that complement each other. So he's a family man. He's got, I think, 19 kids now. I have 0. So like we complement each other very well. We're both very, very easygoing. We just love the game of hockey, love seeing kids succeed. I think honestly, it's one of the best things about this is like, it doesn't matter if it's the Sudbury Wolves game that I'm calling or if it's Owen Sound against London. Seeing young kids have success, grow into young men is honestly one of the coolest things. Like if it's someone's first OHL goal, I'm gonna call it like it's the Sudbury Wolves Quentin Musty's 40th goal, right? And it's just like you just love having that success, and that's honestly one of the best parts. The camaraderie between the people who call the games and work within the arena, I just think is so cool. And you get to meet some awesome people who have these amazing stories, and the scouts that are in the media room, just so cool.
I don't care what anybody says. I love the Wolf on the Wire, by the way, at the Sudbury Arena whenever they score. That's incredible. Some people make fun of that, about that old rickety looking wolf that they send out, but I think that's an amazing, amazing thing. And you really can't soak up the atmosphere unless you've actually been to a game up there.
She's getting a little crusty. I will say she's getting a little crusty, and I have almost been hit by it multiple times because where we stand, the Wolf on the Wire comes right across, and if they don't hit the button in time, it just keeps going. She keeps going and just come right into your lap. I think it's one of the coolest things in the CHL. The differences in arenas that you're going to and the different quirks. And I think Sudbury has definitely one of the best ones. I mean, just the history of it. It's one of the oldest barns in the CHL. It definitely needs some upgrades, but like there are some really cool aspects about it. The wood inside, the wolf on the wire, obviously. And I think that wolf has been there since the building opened.
It might be. We'll look into that. Have you ever had a chance to actually send the wolf? Have you pressed the button that fires the wolf?
I have. Yeah, I have. I was really hesitant about it because I was like, hey, I didn't score. Why do I get to do this? It's like touching the cup without winning it, right? But at this point, I was like, well, let's do it. Let's do it. It's not as climactic as, as scoring a goal and watching it come across. It's just an empty arena and you're just pushing a button, but still, it's a cool experience.
In addition to the Sudbury Wolves, there's another team that plays in the arena, which is a basketball team, the Sudbury Five. I know you're a huge basketball guy, huge Toronto Raptors fan. Do you have any involvement with the Five? Do you get to call their games as well?
Yeah, so I do all their play-by-play for the Sudbury Five, and that's been a lot of fun to see the impact that team's had on the community. They do a lot of school visits. Just this last weekend, they had a triple header, so they had men's and women's Laurentian University basketball games on the Sudbury Arena court, and then they had a Sudbury Five game following those two games. So it was just a full day of basketball. A lot of the youth teams came in to watch those games, and I think that's a lot of fun. Basketball is, like I said, I love every sport. Basketball is definitely my main. Is like it's very, very close. There's like millimeters in between basketball, baseball, football, and hockey in terms of the four. Golf is, since I've retired from playing basketball, it's hard on the body. I've taken up golf, so golf has started to climb up that leaderboard. But having that team in Sudbury has been really cool to see the interest in basketball grow.
You've got a pretty passionate owner there as well in Sudbury, Dario Zulich, who has been fighting even since I was there for a brand new arena, and it's finally happening. Is that right? You guys are finally getting a new arena at some point?
Yeah. We tore down some buildings. We made some room down there. We didn't really knock to see if anyone was home still, and that might be a problem that they'll get sued later for, but we took them down. We cleared some space. I think on track for a 2028 opening, I do believe. I mean, it not helping that we get all these winters. We don't have a very long construction season. So really, really happy to see that happening. It didn't matter where it went. We just definitely needed a new facility, not only for hockey, but for things like concerts up here in Sudbury. And being able to draw from the communities around us, North Bay and Timmins and Sault Ste. Marie. And I think that like any big decision is going to come with like different sides of opinions. I'm of the opinion that like get it done. And I'm happy that it is going downtown because that's where you want most of the people to bring into, and that's where all the services are. So I think right decision, and I'm very excited. What's kind of cool is so like they'll build here, and the recurrent arena is right here, so they'll keep playing while this is being built up, and then just move all the equipment next door.
All right. And
Yeah.
what's going to happen to the old barn? Are they going to bulldoze that, or will that stay open as like a historic site?
I have called Wile E. Coyote to see if I can get my hands on some of that Acme stuff. That explode. I mean, it doesn't explode where you want it to explode often, but I think that if they'll let me do it, I'll do it. I'll push that button instead of the wolf on the wire. I'll push that TNT button.
All right. Well, we'll let it be known that Nick would like his name on the list for demolition when the time comes around.
We're taking down the super stack, by the way. I'm already on that list to take that one down.
All right. Yes.
Yeah.
Which mine is that at? The Super Stack?
It is. It's in Copper Cliff. So Vale owns a number of miles. It's at the smelter, so the processing plant where everything gets processed, where all of the different mine stuff comes to, gets processed there, and then it used to the like stuff used to shoot up the super stack and like get sent to like Espanola and communities that like were like, hey, you take our pollution. We don't use the super stack anymore, so it's just kind of been sitting there, and they decided to take it down. So we're losing a landmark. It's kind of sad, but at the same time, like it signifies pollution. That's kind of gross.
Yeah, it's still an iconic part of the Sudbury skyline.
Totally.
That and the giant water tower. Is that still a giant goal light, by the way, or was that
It is.
It
It is
is.
the world's biggest goal light, by the way. Get it right, JC.
Excuse me.
Yeah, geez, the world's biggest goal. It goes off whenever the Wolves score. Scares the heck out of the residents in that area. I will tell you, it's a good thing we don't play on the West Coast because, I mean, the latest you're getting a goal is like 10 p.m. So that's not too bad.
No, you'll think that the police are coming for you for sure when you see that flashing red light. Let's talk about the current Sudbury Wolves team. I know last year the expectations were through the roof. It looked like they had possibly one of the best teams in like 50 years in Sudbury. This year, a little bit different. You've had just over a month now since the trade deadline. Sudbury made some moves. What have you thought of the new guys that have come in, and how have they helped change the dynamic a little bit for the Wolves?
Well, it's been really weird. I will say that I think that the roster at the beginning of the season exceeded expectations so much so that they, made these moves, and they were the right moves, bringing in a guy like Henry Muse. He's been so much fun to watch. At this point, I don't know if they're using him properly. And it's the thing about bringing people in at the trade deadline where you're not exactly sure how they're going to fit in. You kind of will try to trade for some players who maybe played with some of the guys on your roster at like a younger age, so they have that relationship built. And that has happened with the Sudbury Wolves. I mean, Henry Muse played with Nathan Villeneuve, but it just hasn't really clicked. I mean, you also have a guy like Quentin Musty. So you look at that roster before the season, you hope that you get Quentin Musty back and San Jose lets him go back to the OHL, but he's only played 25 games, and that's, a guy that should be your top point getter. So I think they exceeded expectations. Just over a month ago, they were fighting for a first spot in their division, tops of the Eastern Conference standings. And when they made those trades, it looked like, okay, this is the right move. Now they've kind of sputtered. They had a tough stretch of scheduling where they were playing, London a couple times. All of the good Western Conference teams, they had to go on the road and take them on. They've been 4-12 since the trade deadline. I don't think that was what their plan was. They've now dropped down to 7th. They're not looking like that they're going to get into a home ice advantage. The big thing for the Sudbury Wolves right now is getting to a point where they're playing really good hockey going into the playoffs. They have the talent there. It's just getting them all to play together. Like I was saying with Henry Muse, his hockey IQ is unbelievable. The way as a defenseman, he joins the rush and joins the offensive game. He will cut behind and slice, and people will not even know he's there. They're just not finding him on those opportunities. And I think like a guy like Henry Muse with a defenseman who is offensive minded, it takes a while to know where, especially on the power play and stuff like that, know where people like the puck, and it's just not happening right now. There's still 15 games left in the season. They can get it, and we've seen teams in the playoffs who are 6, 7, 8 seeds upset higher seeds if you're playing some good hockey.
Yeah, and I mean the East really it's still tight, and I've seen Owen Sound has success against some of the top teams in the East. So certainly, if Sudbury can get things together, you have to kind of maybe like your chances against a Barrie or even a Kingston, maybe a Brantford too. I don't know about Oshawa; they seem like they figured it out, but there could be a pretty good chance that they advance and get a round or two in here.
Yeah, it's all about matchups. I think the interesting thing about Sudbury is they made moves at the deadline to strengthen certain areas, but not all of the areas. So Nathan Krawchuk is their starting goaltender. He's handled the bulk of the work this season. They don't really have a backup goaltender. So goalies can go through these stretches where, you get down on yourself, you get up on yourself. And over the since the trade deadline, I mean, I don't think they've been in a game, or not too many games, where one team hasn't scored 7 or 8 goals. And so they're just not getting those consistent starts in net. This team can score 10 goals in a game on any given night, but in a 7-game playoff series, if 4 out of the 7 games you're giving up 5, 6 or more, you're not going to win.
Yeah. Well, do you have any predictions for how the Wolves are going to do in the playoffs once they punch that ticket? Do you see them going deep as a result of these moves that they've made, or are you kind of worried it might be an early summer?
If stays the way it is right now, it's a first round exit in, and probably a 4-0, 4-1 first round exit, especially if they do get matched up against, I mean, Barry's had their number this season. If it's against Barry or Oshawa, that is a very, very tough matchup. If it ends up being, the Bulldogs just came in and absolutely wiped the floor with the Sudbury Wolves, and they are an unbelievable team. I think I may have sent Nick Lardis on this unbelievable trajectory, because I was like, he was at like 46 goals in 47 games. I was like, what's the matter? He can't get 47 and 47. Ends up scoring 4 against the Sudbury Wolves, and now way over that total. And he is just an unbelievable player. There's some really good talent. I think the weakness in all of those teams at the top is goaltending. So I think that there's a shot. If that's what I was saying, if Sudbury can start playing the way they were around Christmas time going into the playoffs, they have a very good shot. Second round, potentially beyond. But I think the expectations when they were at the top of the conference were a bit too high, because this should have been a bit of a rebuilding year for them. And so I think if it stays like this, it's first round.
I'm going to ask you about one quick question about the Eastern Conference, because we don't get to see the East a whole lot, being in the West. So is there anything this year that has surprised you, good or bad, about a team in the East? And you can't pick Sudbury, so anything about any of the other teams that has surprised you this season?
The Bulldogs for sure. Just the way that they have come together as a full team and shot up those standings. I mean, this is a team, that won it not too long ago. And so like they're in this beautiful cycle of OHL hockey, and the Barrie Colts do it a lot. I mean, London, to put it in the Western Conference, London's a bit of a bad example, but like Barrie Colts, they have this cycle where they will have one slightly bad year, and they usually end up making the playoffs still. And then it's 2-3 good years, and then one slightly, and then 2-3-4 good years. And the Bulldogs have found that cycle too, and they are just an unbelievable powerhouse. And I think like they're my favorite to come out of the East for sure.
All right. Well, looking forward to a good game Friday night. We're recording this on Wednesday, a couple days before the Attack make their way up to Sudbury. Hopefully they get up there. I don't even know if they're home from Windsor yet as we record this.
But that's what I'm saying. Just put those hockey bags on the back of a couple snowmobiles, head on over the big water. You'll get here in no time.
Yeah. I'm sure the lake is frozen over that way.
It's frozen over.
It's thick enough.
Yeah. Are we doing predictions? You want to do a little Friday night prediction? See if we're right at the end?
You know what? I'll say this. You're going to be facing a hungry Attack team that's trying to make the playoffs. Every point matters. They've been pretty good as of late. Seems to have had a lot of luck against the Eastern Conference. And I almost wonder, dare I say, if Pierce Bowie gets his 4th hat trick of the season, the Attack rookie who's just been on fire. Those 3 of those hat tricks have come in the last month. So
that's unbelievable.
I kind of wonder if it's going to be 5-3 Attack.
Okay. Forget everything I've said on this podcast. 7-4 Wolves.
Okay. Are we putting something on this, Nick?
Yeah, a trip up or a trip down.
All right.
If I win, you come up. If you win, I'll go down.
All right, loser visits. So I got it.
Actually, we'll meet in Collingwood. I don't want to go that far.
You know what? That's a nice little halfway in between. They
Yeah,
got some nice
yeah.
resorts. We'll show up and loser can buy beer for the winner.
We're going to Twist Martini Bar, buddy. Couple teenies in us.
Perfect. Nick Liard, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate you being here to help us learn a little bit more about the Wolves and yourself. And we'll hopefully have you on again. Miss you, buddy.
Miss you too, man. Thanks a lot.
Well, there you have it. We were short on the guests this week, but still pretty long on the episode. Thanks to our guests, Dave Cruickshank and Pete Miller. Really enjoyed my conversation with those two gentlemen. In fact, after we turned off the camera and stopped recording, we talked for like another 25 minutes about some really cool stories about the Owen Sound Attack and what the Attack Pack does. So, unfortunately, that conversation was not recorded, but we will definitely have those gents on again at some point. And a big thank you to my old friend Nick Liard up in Sudbury for joining us. Looks like I lost the bet, so I guess I'll be buying the drinks when we meet in Collingwood this summer. That is going to wrap it up for us. As for the Owen Sound Attack this week, well, they are back at home Wednesday night. That rescheduled game with Niagara Ice Dogs will be happening Wednesday night. You can get your tickets for that one at attackhockey.com. Attack then have a big test on Friday afternoon as they head down to London to take on the Knights. I'll actually be at that game. I have yet to have gone on a road trip to see the Attack play, but I'll be seeing them coming up on Friday night. Then, of course, the Attack back at home Saturday night to take on the Kitchener Rangers. Again, you can get tickets for that game at attackhockey.com. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great week. We'll see you at the rink.
The Bear Tracker podcast is produced in association with Blackburn Media from the CKNX studios in Wingham, Ontario. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe at Bear Tracker Pod on social media and wherever you get your podcasts.